Start talking about things that actually matter. Sup, nation? We are live in Charlotte at the Democratic National Convention. It's the last day. I'm tired. We're outside for some reason. Little hungover. No makeup lady. Broken out. It's a good day, though, for America, because President Obama just spoke 30 minutes ago. And, yeah, I think that's it for my intro. Also, with me, we have Elliott Morgan and Meg Turney.
How's it going?
Family, one last time.
How's the last day going?
It was so smooth and wonderful, and no hiccups whatsoever.
No bumps whatsoever at all.
I think we did a cross-country jog.
Yes.
I think I've actually seen this in Mario Kart 64. I don't know if you remember that one, the level with the balloons.
Yes.
That's totally
battle
exactly what
mode.
this is. It's real life.
Yeah, no,
It was real life.
life.
It was modeled after the Google Center before its time.
I literally had
Exactly.
like a giant run by today.
Yeah?
We were running. We made the run. It was like Godzilla had attacked the city, and I was just running mindlessly.
You're going to post that video tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's posted right now.
Yeah, so make sure you check out Elliott's channel if you want to see us looking like idiots running through town. But our convention coverage may be ending tonight, but we still have a show for you. So make sure that for our segment later, which is The Nation Speaks, you tweet us using the hashtag PDSLive in a response to the question of the day today, which is, what did you think about Obama's speech tonight? Did you think that it changed anything? Was it more of the same? Any opinion on it? We would love it. But, yeah, I think that's really it. Before we jump into anything from tonight, we are going to talk about last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what everyone was talking about, and that was Bill Clinton, and here's that. About last night, what's the job score?
Republicans, 24 million. Democrats, 42. 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 Everybody's forgotten. When President Barack Obama took office, the economy was in free fall. It had just shrunk 9 full percent of GDP. We were losing 750,000 jobs a month. Are we doing better than that today? The answer is yes. The difference this time is purely in the circumstances. The difference President Obama started with is purely in the circumstances.
We're back, apparently. I'm going to lower this. I have no idea what just played, but I heard that it was a video playing 3 seconds over and over.
Yeah.
How about this? I'm going to reenact what Clinton said.
Okay.
Please do.
He was all, booyah, words, stuff, facts, and other things. Opinions.
Nailed it.
Amazing.
Nailed it. That was
yeah,
exactly what he did.
I feel like in my ear I half expected like, yo, squirrel, drop it hard. Like just something to come off in my ear. No, but it was amazing. I mean, I like that factcheck.org called it a nightmare to fact check because there were so many facts and figures. And really there were a couple exaggerations, but nothing too big. I mean, he really killed it.
Yeah, I thought it was probably the best speech of all of the conventions.
Yes.
It wasn't like I didn't get chills during it, but I was just like, man, Bill Clinton, you're so cool. Like, he's just a cool guy. And I do think he's a genius because he takes those facts and he, like, interweaves them with all of his opinions, which is, like, the best way to do anything because you basically, like, safeguard yourself against anything. Because you can say whatever, smash it together with your opinion, and you're good to go.
I don't know. Some of the speeches, I mean, Clinton's especially, but even some of the Republicans, a few of the Democrats, I've found myself getting somewhat emotional. I mean, because someone used the word on a video today to bash me, and it was patriotic. Phil's patriotic, like it was a bad thing.
Gross.
And I was like loving my country and even if you want to be a cynic and it's like, oh, it's all a charade and this and that, it got me excited. And what I wanted to cover with Bill Clinton was the fact checking because the reason it was so hard, it was supposed to be a 28-minute speech.
Really?
Yeah, it turned into 48 minutes because he was like, I'm going to say a bunch of other words. And like when you actually look at some of the things that he just came up with, like George Washington's wooden teeth and like all those random tangents, it's kind of amazing that he came up with it. But let's see, fact checking that I have here. Thank goodness it's not needing any electronics. Yeah. We have, in the last 29 months, our economy has produced about 4.5 million private sector jobs. The fact checker said mostly true. He ignores declining government jobs. Clinton starts counting when we bottomed out in February 2010, when other people used the 2009 numbers, but overall, essentially correct.
This was the figure I said yesterday, and I got in my ear that I was wrong, and Bill Clinton saved me.
Yeah,
thank you, Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton was like, 1 second, Meg. I got this.
Hey, Meg, I got this. Bill to the rescue.
Let's see. And then we had last year the Republicans blocked the president's job plan, costing the economy more than 1 million jobs. Moody's Analytics says Obama proposed American Jobs Act would have added more than 1 million jobs. Once again, essentially true is what it looks like. Obviously, you have to understand that it was an estimation.
Yep. Sure,
but, But we'll never know. Will we ever see that girl again? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Let's see. And then since 1961, 42 million jobs added while Dems in White House versus 24 while GOP in White House. And that was based off of the Democrats being in office, I believe, 4 less years. Mm-hmm. So I think he did what he really needed to do. Which, if anything, I thought, oh man, how is Barack Obama going to do better than that? And we'll talk about Obama and what he said a little later. But any final thoughts on Bill Clinton?
I've never come closer to just straight up becoming a Democrat. And I think he's cool. He's cool. Oh no, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I thought he kind of played it almost like a father,
right.
like guy. Like he would say, he would listen. Now listen, are you listening? Stop laughing, everyone. Yeah. Are you listening? Because you need to remember this. And it was very like, I'm listening, Bill. Like, oh, you got it. So I liked it. I really liked it.
Elliot, I just love the past 2 weeks that you're so bi-curious as far as political parties. You're just like, I don't know which way
politically
I want to go.
Curious. Goodness.
Hey, it still works.
No, yeah. And Bill Clinton is just a charming individual, and I think when you have that much charm in one human being, it's going to be awesome. Like, whatever comes out of his mouth is going to be awesome.
No, I loved it, and I don't know, I feel like for the first time, because when he was president, I really didn't appreciate how amazing of a speaker he was. Yesterday, I was kind of floored, but that was just me. Next up, we have women's rights activist Sandra Fluke.
In that America, your new president could be a man who stands by when a public figure tries to silence a private citizen with hateful slurs. It would be an America in which you have a new vice president who co-sponsored a bill that would allow pregnant women to die preventable deaths in our emergency rooms. An America in which access to birth control is controlled by people who will never use it. An America in which politicians redefine rape and victims are victimized all over again. We've also seen another America that we could choose. In that America, we'd have the right to choose. We talk often about choice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to choose.
So we had Sandra Fluke, and I think the birth control message is good. It's a very pro-woman message, the right over your body. I saw some terrible things on the internet. The internet was a very terrible place for Sandra Fluke last night. But
it has been historically for Sandra Fluke. I mean,
or
and
I was
also
just
the
women.
real world.
And women, I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was called a slut for saying that people she was defending a friend of hers who takes birth control, who's gay, who doesn't need it to prevent pregnancies, who takes birth control, I believe, for ovarian issues. I know it was like a health issue that she was taking it for, and she was called a slut for it.
Right.
So, I mean, it kind of indicates how ridiculous this nation can be about contraception.
Yeah. Elliot, what do you think about Sandra Fluke and what she said?
I think Sandra Fluke seems like a good person. I can't argue with what she said. I think when you look at the contraception debate, it's a huge issue. And I think what it boils down to is the idea of a society not necessarily just accepting premarital sex, but then like funding it with tax dollars. So I think that's where like the divide happens. That being said, I think it's just a matter of time before it's just accepted and people calm down about it.
Do you think that it's a bad thing and that it is actually funding premarital sex?
Personally, no. But for those
saying...
that do, yeah, it's kind of like I understand where they're coming from. It's like if they are so wholly opposed to that, and if there's a majority out there that is wholly opposed to that, you know, it's like at what point are you just like, no, you're wrong, moving on?
Right. I mean, I think the big thing is if you are going to go the anti-abortion route, I understand where people come from that. Then we have to go into sex education. We have to go into birth control. I mean, if you want to stop that thing that you really, really hate, how about we educate and prevent, in my opinion?
I totally agree, but I think my biggest problem with people saying they're against birth control because they're against premarital sex is there are women who have recurrent ovarian cysts that birth control helps them not become, victims to that, not having these recurrent ovarian cysts that can rupture and cause them monumental amounts of pain and take away their ability to even have children. I mean, there are health issues, cervical issues and ovarian issues that birth control heads off, and so people who aren't even sexually active need to be able to take it and need to have access to it.
So what would you say to someone that said, okay, well, we'll only fund it if you need it for that reason, but not so you can just bang everybody?
Well, I mean, I think that's a slippery slope because there are women who have, not to get all gross on the internet, but super heavy periods, PMS, things like this that birth control takes care of. Please don't leave yet, guys. I promise it's not all periods.
No, it's completely
normal. But I mean, there are things
that
birth control does help with that aren't, so cut and dry as saying you have recurrent ovarian cysts.
Yeah, but that was Sandra Fluke. I think, getting the pro-female message, especially with the Democrats, pushing that Republicans hate women agenda. Well, agenda? Is that the right thing to say? That's the wrong word. I'm going to see that in a soundbite tomorrow with someone going, "You're an idiot." Anyway, next we have people that are not idiots. The Nation showed up yesterday, about 40 to 60 of you. I tweeted it out at like midnight, and here's what some of you had to say about issues that mattered to you.
Basically, I feel like the social issues are what concern me the most, because I feel like if I can be drafted and if I can die for this country forcibly, then I should be able to marry who I want to. I should be able to put what I want in my body. And if I'm a woman, I should be able to do what I want.
I'm really big into having the whole gay marriage thing. That's really big for me. The reason I don't like Mitt Romney as much is because he just kind of doesn't think that's real marriage, which is kind of stupid to me.
Things that involve me, since I'm a college student, I really want to learn more about how I'm going to get out of this debt that I'm in right now.
Oh, veteran affairs, definitely. I mean, I think like Phil and Meg and Elliott talked about yesterday, I think that it's really important to honor the people that have fought for us so that we can live and I can be right here in front of the camera. So I think it's definitely one of the most pressing issues that we have today.
What I would change in America is just compassion towards one another. I really wish that we could just work together on some things, respect other people's values, and just, there are a lot of values that really need to be cherished from other people. So.
I would like to see gay legalized everywhere. I would like abortion and pro-choice to be legal, because that's ridiculous that it's not for rape and incest and all that good stuff.
I would like to see true freedom of speech. I think about Chick-fil-A recently. The CEO came out and said, he's not necessarily support gay marriage. And a lot of people that were all about tolerance and free speech, just because his view didn't line up with theirs, they came up with uproar against him.
I definitely wish that people in power would talk more about the legalization of marijuana. I feel like that Obama's kind of glazed over it, so I'd really like more information and more chatter about that. That's what I'm interested in.
I would like to see the bipartisanism stop, because it feels like there are two camps. It's like, here are the Republicans, here are the Democrats, and if Obama wants something, just because Obama wants it, the Republicans aren't going to do it. I feel like it's just party lines, and we're going to worry about our re-elections.
So it seemed like a lot of these social or college issues, a lot of the people that did show up were pretty young. I think there was like a 30-year-old person bringing out the top. But gay marriage, a big thing. It's something that we've discussed over the past 2 weeks. College student, that was addressed tonight as far as Pell Grants. It was also last night, which, the fact checkers did point out. I think it was Quinn yesterday who was throwing out all these different numbers as far as the gutting, Romney not saying that, but Obama really pushing for college students' education, things like that. Veteran affairs you talked about yesterday. And we heard from a lot of the people talking about veteran affairs, and we have to take care of our heroes, and it's all these words, and it's both sides. Do you think they actually mean it? Because you talked to someone from Veteran Affairs.
Right, Tom Tarantino from the IAVA.
Do you think that it's just them being supportive?
So I think that, I noticed that Democrats talked about it a lot more than Republicans did in their speeches. Obama talked about it tonight. Joe Biden got emotional while he was talking about it tonight. Tom did say that he was at both conferences, so he's pushing on both sides. But I do think the Democrats have done a better job just because they're better at taking government money and funneling it places. Republicans pull back government money, but at funneling it to Veterans Affairs. And I think that they have done a lot in the last 4 years to help veterans out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see it being talked about. I think both sides. I don't doubt sincerity when it comes to that kind of thing. I say that I doubt a lot of sincerity. Yeah, but I don't know. I think if you are going to have one thing that you are truthful and straightforward about, I would think, or at least hope, it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it is hard to believe the sincerity. Everyone always throws out this person in my family, which insert thing. And then other thing. And whenever they talk about Veteran Affairs, they always cut to the one guy wearing a bunch of pins and everything, and he's decked out, and he really believes. And I don't know. I just imagine for every person that's like that, there are tons of people just broken, damaged, not being taken care of. And I feel like it's both sides have 100% failed.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then we had the compassion, still kind of relating to it, but more of, I think a lot of it was social and economics.
Well,
Seems
social
like
issues
90%.
traditionally matter to younger voters,
yeah.
way more than fiscal issues.
Yeah. I don't know. I think from there we are going to move on to tonight's speeches, starting with former Republican Governor of Florida, Charlie Crist. Here's that.
My friend Jeb Bush recently noted Reagan himself would have been too moderate, too reasonable for today's GOP. If we only have leaders who are willing and enthusiastic to find common ground. No political party has a monopoly on that kind of leadership. But as a former lifelong Republican, it pains me to tell you that today's Republicans and their standard bearers, Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, just aren't up to the task. President Obama saw what I saw, a catastrophe in the making, and he took action.
So Crist repeating a point that several have, neocons, the extreme Republicans.
We almost got attacked by Mothra.
I got attacked by a moth. But neocons.
Neocons.
That's what I was talking about. The extreme Republicans that were completely unwilling to work with Obama. Playing that clip over and over. I'm not sure how many times it aired on TV, but in the at the place, they played it several times of our goal over the next 2 years is to keep Barack Obama out of the White House, which is essentially, we're not going to vote with you. We're not going to work with you. Doesn't matter. Do you think that, I'm going to start with Elliott, do you think that's what all of them have done?
No, I think it goes both ways. I think absolutely. I don't know. I feel like I was talking with a relative of mine about this who used to be really involved with the Republican Party, the grassroots Republican Party, and she's not anymore because she feels like they're so polarizing, and it's polarizing on both sides.
Right.
And it used to be back in the day that Democrats and Republicans could work across the aisle, and you'd legitimately be friends with the other person, even if you disagreed with their views. And I guess now it seems like over the past few years on both sides, there's just sort of this whoever you are is defined by whatever political party you represent. That being said, I think Charlie Crist is I don't like him very much.
Is there a reason?
Well, I'm from Florida, and I don't know. I've always gotten the impression, and I feel like he would say anything and do anything as long as he can just, I feel like he's just a politician. I don't look at Charlie Crist and be like, oh, there's somebody I can get. I feel like half the time he's just full of crap. But that's just my opinion.
I love how honest that was.
Yeah.
I know, it's awesome. Meg, opinion?
I do think that there have been on both sides, but more, my biased opinion, on the Republican side, saying we're not going to vote with President Obama, just to kind of this idea that they've kind of dragged down the economy, so it looks really bad for him, and it's going to be very hard for him to get elected. That they've purposely not voted for bipartisan efforts, and even when things that have been pitched that were conservative pitches first, then later on the Democrats have pitched them, and the Republicans have said no, we're not going to touch that now.
I would say
that's annoying because that's why I liked Bill Clinton's point that we need to work across the aisle, holding hands, and that we need to not look at political parties. We need to just get real world solutions. I like that.
Yeah, that was awesome, and I think that was probably my favorite part about Bill Clinton's speech is when he started going into the whole working with your partners across the aisle. I really liked, though, the response from the Romney campaign to Bill Clinton's speech, which was basically like the speech basically just proved how different Bill Clinton is from Barack Obama, because it just highlighted how awesome he was versus Barack Obama, who, according to them, refused to work with Republicans, refused to work with even a lot of the Democrats because he was so extremist. I mean, it's just, you get both. It's the exact same thing being said on both sides.
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely.
No, in year three of Obama, I was so annoyed because I was like, why didn't you do anything in the first 2 years? You're so busy trying to work with everyone and find common ground when you could have pushed something through. And then it was something that he said that he is trying. Not the Romney campaign, who said the opposite, but Clinton, and even Clinton throwing out the kind of, well, back in my day, we didn't really care because we wanted to solve problems. And I was like, yeah, Grandpa Clinton.
Yeah. No, it did feel very granddad Clinton when he said things like that.
Someone that is not Bill Clinton is John Kerry, who went a little insane and I would say almost slapsticky on Mitt Romney, and here he is here.
But I say to you, this is not the time to outsource the job of commander-in-chief. Our opponents like to talk about American exceptionalism, but all they do is talk. They forget that we are exceptional not because we say we are, but because we do exceptional things. We break out of the Great Depression, win 2 world wars, save lives fighting AIDS, pull people out of poverty, defend freedom, go to the moon, and produce exceptional people who even give their lives for civil rights and for human rights. It took President Obama, against the advice of many, to give that order and finally rid this earth of Osama bin Laden. Ask Osama bin Laden if he is better off now than he was 4 years ago. When a brutal dictator promised to hunt down and kill his own people like rats, President Obama enlisted our allies, built the coalition, shared the burden, so that today, without a single American casualty, Muammar Gaddafi is gone and the people of Libya are free. Folks, Sarah Palin said she could see Russia from Alaska. Mitt Romney talks like he's only seen Russia by watching Rocky IV. No nominee for president should ever fail in the midst of a war to pay tribute to our troops overseas in his acceptance speech. We already have an exceptional American as president, and we believe in Barack Obama. Thank you, and God bless America.
So John Kerry, I feel like he hired just a comedian. I feel like that's what it was. Let's see. We have Sarah Palin reference. Bring that back. It's always a good thing for a attempt. Mm-hmm. Okay. Rocky IV reference.
Oh yeah.
I was on the floor at that time, and the crowd just ate it up. They just ate it up. This one guy literally grabbed my shoulder. He was like, "Oh!" I was like, "Whoa, calm it down." Of course, the outsourcing references, just for Bain Capital, getting rid of American jobs, sending them overseas. They're pushing that a lot. And then, of course, the name we heard a lot, which was Osama bin Laden.
Yes.
They love that, and they actually made the bumper sticker. I saw literally just tons of Joe Biden, Osama bin Laden, GM bumper stickers.
Yeah.
But opinion on your lovely John Kerry.
Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, don't ever call him my lovely John Kerry, 'cause that's just not right. I want to say that the outsourcing reference, not as ridiculous as all the other references to me.
Okay, right.
And the Osama bin Laden thing. Okay, ask him if he's better off. He's going to say no. That's the worst. You're going against what you want people to say. Yes, they're better off. Osama bin Laden is going to say no, he's clearly not better off.
No,
because he's freaking dead.
Well, that's the point.
He's not better off.
That was the joke.
You're the worst. But for the rest of it, I honestly, during his speech, I just wanted to, John, shut up. Shut up, John. Someone get Kerry off the stage. That's how I felt during his whole speech.
I know.
I really wish Kerry would have addressed if he thought Osama bin Laden would be dead if he had won in 2004, because I would venture venture to say that he wouldn't. But that being said, no, I mean, it was a bunch of red meat. I feel like seeing this one after Bill Clinton was really kind of sad because Bill Clinton does all this broad stuff, bipartisan, awesome. I'm Bill Clinton, I'm charming, and John Kerry gets up there and it's like buzzword, 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 and everyone's like, yay, I mean,
he did a terrible job. I'm happy to admit when someone on our side fucks up and John Kerry in embarrassing amounts.
You should say my side.
I meant ours, as in Democrats, not in you guys.
I just don't want people to, start thinking stuff.
No, clearly, you're so patriotic already.
Don't be patriotic, Phil.
God.
No, I do agree. I think that, if anything, he did more damage, even though the floor loved it. I know the hardcore base loved it. I think he undid the classiness of Michelle Obama, who she didn't bash, she did not name, Romney, and then Bill Clinton, who did name Romney, but did it with facts and this and this. But I agree with you. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
but why is
I'm sure
everyone
there are a lot of
loving
people
it?
backstage like, oh, damn it, Kerry.
Damn it, Kerry.
Kerry?
And then he just walked off like, nailed it.
I bet no one has told him yet.
I know, right?
It wasn't that good.
He's like that kid who...
No, it's really good, John. It's really good.
No,
but then, surprisingly, well, awesomeness in comparison to Kerry, we have Vice President Joe Biden.
We've got 3 incredible kids. And Bo, I want to thank you for putting my name in nomination to be Vice President of the United States. I accept. With great honor and pleasure, I accept. This generation of Americans has proven itself as worthy as any generation before us. The message it would have sent around the world if the United States gave up on an industry that helped put America on the map in the first place. Conviction, resolve, Barack Obama. That's what saved the automobile industry. Conviction, resolve, Barack Obama. And he also knew the message we had to send around the world. If you attack innocent Americans, we will follow you to the end of the earth. Because of all the actions he took, because of the calls he made, because of the determination of American workers and the unparalleled bravery of our special forces, we can now proudly say what you've heard me say the last 6 months. Osama bin Laden is dead and General Motors is alive.
So we come back, Joe Biden finishing what's really become his catchphrase more than his slogan. Same difference. And then cars has been the big thing. Not even Biden. I know there were speeches earlier that we don't even have that they really, really pushed that because their whole big thing is that Mitt Romney said, let Detroit, screw it. Paraphrasing. But what'd you think about Uncle Joe?
Oh, can I go first?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, thanks. You know what? On the show yesterday, I said after Paul Ryan spoke, I said if I were Joe Biden, I'd be nervous, and that I was nervous to hear him speak because he says things like, "This is so fucking exciting" when he signs healthcare bills. Like sometimes Uncle Joe embarrasses us a little bit, but he did great. I thought his speech was great. He's touched on. He got very emotional when he talked about our servicemen and women. I thought it was very genuine. I thought some of the things he said, were a little red meaty, like the catchphrase he's got going on, but I thought it was a great speech, and I thought he did a great job of pointing out kind of what's been going on with Barack and humanizing him a little bit, and he did a great job to kind of toss it off to him.
Awesome.
First of all, I have no idea who Joe Biden is.
Well, they kept him in a closet for about 2 years.
Yeah, I was like, that's what he looked like? No, I thought he did good. I liked that he got emotional. It was very sincere. There's a ton of red meat again. But I don't know, whenever people start talking about if this person's elected, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And then usually whatever's going to happen is like borderline zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Like it's horrible every time. I tune out that stuff whenever that happens because I feel like it's just there's no way of knowing any of that, and people are always going to say if their opponent is going to win, then it's impending doom. But other than that, he did a really solid job.
Yeah, I mean, impending doom. You kept hearing 2016 Medicare or Medicaid. 2016, and then on top of pushing towards women, the quote, "This generation has proved itself." That, once again, obviously, Democrats going after the younger vote with 15 million new votes. So what I'm going to say, because everyone will have an opinion on who supports who, regardless of if you support a Republican, Democrat, if you are a new voter, you have no excuse right now not to register to vote, because if you don't, then I want to say you're kind of a jerkhole. Yeah, if you want your opinion to matter, even with our busted ass 2-party electoral college system, if you want to even have a fraction of a vote, you have to register. And you know what? When we post this tomorrow morning, link in the description, annotation, doing a bunch of YouTube stuff. I don't know.
If you don't register, I would go so far as to say that we 3 will beat you up.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'll get the claws out.
Physical violence, I feel like, is the best way to get things done.
Elliott works on the body, Meg on the face. I go
get
somewhere
the face?
else.
You just insult people.
Oh, you guys so nice.
Just with words.
Oh, it's emotional.
Just
The scars, so when they heal.
But I think after that, if you are like Elliott and you were like, "Hey, who is that Joe Biden fella?" I think right now we have the history of Joe Biden.
Heck is Joe Biden? I went outside and asked a bunch of people on the street, and they all replied with, I don't know, who the F is Joe Biden? I was like, hey, don't answer my question with a question, especially when it's a profane version of the same question that I asked you, idiot. You can drop the idiot if you want, because it's very mean. So what I gathered from all that is that a bunch of people don't really know who Joe Biden is. Psst, guess what? He's the vice president, like, right now. But guess what, you guys? That's not all that he's done or been. He's more than just the current vice president. And that's why I am here. Me, Joe Beretta, presenting to you, Joe Biden. Joe on Joe. It's not a weird sex thing. Yet. Joe Biden has spent more than half of his life playing around in the Senate. He's also the first dude from Delaware and the first Roman Catholic to fill the vice president's shoes. Joe was born on November 20th, 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yes, that same Scranton, but he soon moved to Delaware with his family. He was the oldest of 4 Catholic children, and his daddy managed a car dealership. Growing up, economically, his family jumped around the lower and middle classes. He was a stutterer, but he got over that later in life by reciting poetry into a mirror. Artsy. He was also diagnosed with asthma, an affliction that kept him out of the Vietnam War. In high school, he was known more for his accomplishments on the football field than for his academics. And this is also when his leadership cream started to rise to the top of the Biden butter bucket. That is an odd sentence that I wrote. Joe went on to get by in college, graduating near the bottom of his class at the University of Delaware with political science and history majors. He then picked up his doctorate from Syracuse, even though he thought the whole law school thing was totally boring. And he passed the Delaware bar in 1969. Biden, quote, fell ass over tin cup in love at first sight with Nelia Hunter in college, and they were swiftly married. Together they pumped out 3 kids as he jumped into the law world. But that didn't last, and he jumped into politics soon after. In 1972, at age 29, Biden became the 6th youngest man to ever get elected to the Senate when he upset his Delaware opponent. However, right after his triumph, his wife and kids were in an automobile accident when looking for a Christmas tree. Tragically, his wife and daughter were killed, and his 2 boys were severely injured. This was a dark time for Biden. He even considered committing suicide, but his commitment to the people of Delaware, and more importantly to his family, pulled him through the tragedy. He was sworn into office from his son's hospital bedside, and he never relinquished his role in the Senate until he was elected VP in 2008. And he left the Senate with the 15th longest tenure in history. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about a couple more things. Biden remarried in 1977, and he and his lady birthed another daughter. In 1987, he was like, I want to be president, and he went for it. Then he was accused of plagiarizing a British politician's speech, so he dropped out. But then he went to the doctor to check out some severe headaches, and 2 life-threatening aneurysms were discovered in his body, so he had surgery, and as a result, blood clots developed in his lungs, had another surgery, and 7 months later, he's back in the Senate, like a boss, a senator boss. 2008, he's like, I want to try to be president again, but he gets throttled by Hillary Clinton and Obama in the primaries, but he is selected by a victorious Obama to run on the Democratic ticket with him. And now he works behind the political scenes. Some say it's because he's prone to saying some pretty stupid stuff, but he's actually, after a pretty rocky start, one of the president's most valued advisors. If Joe Biden is anything, he's likable and he's a hard worker. He's a former chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. He opposed the Gulf War for, and he helped create the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act and the Violence Against Women Act as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He also did a bunch of other stuff, but like a Joe Biden attending law school, I am bored. Gonna go do something else. Probably gonna go play some Earthbound, because that game is awesome.
And now you know way too much about Joe Biden.
Yay.
Yay. But next up, we have the president. The president spoke tonight. It's what we've been waiting for. It's why you're probably watching this right now. So here are some highlights.
Madam Chairwoman, delegates, I accept your nomination for President of the United States. And when the House of Cards collapsed in the Great Recession, millions of innocent Americans lost their jobs, their homes, their life savings, a tragedy from which we're still fighting to recover. But they don't want you to know their plan. And that's because all they have to offer is the same prescriptions they've had for the last 30 years. Have a surplus? Try a tax cut. Deficit too high? Try another. Feel a cold coming on? Take 2 tax cuts, roll back some regulations, and call us in the morning. We have been there. We've tried that, and we're not going back. We are moving forward, America. I've met workers in Detroit and Toledo who feared they'd never build another American car. And today they can't build them fast enough because we reinvented a dying auto industry that's back on the top of the world. And yes, my plan will continue to reduce the carbon pollution that is heating our planet because climate change is not a hoax. More droughts and floods and wildfires are not a joke. They are a threat to our children's future. And in this election, you can do something about it.
And so the president spoke tonight. You know what? I'm going to let you guys just jump straight into it. Elliot, what was your opinion on the president's speech?
He's cool. And I wish that instead, hey, that might be him. Those are pretty lights. Look at all that.
No, that's not.
Anyway, yeah. So no, I thought he did a great job. I thought he kept it very broad, very big, very like everybody loves America. Woohoo! And yeah, I wish everybody was as cool as Barack Obama. I mean, he's a cool individual. That's all I can say about him.
Yeah. No.
Literally all I can say about him.
No, but I mean, one, yes, Obama is cool. 2, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I was into it at first. I was like, yeah. No, I mean, I still, once again, I get excited about politics. It's weird. I don't understand why I'm excited. I don't get why I'm emotionally invested in things that might not affect me for years or at all, but I am. But I mean, he did throw out the carbon pollution. They did actually. They talked about the environment tonight. That is one thing I would say that he did touch on. I feel like Clinton talked about everything else, and then Obama was like, "What do I got?
Yeah,
what do I have left?"
He talked about a few things.
Bill.
He definitely talked about specifics.
And then he just got on the phone. He's like, "You didn't leave me anything."
Yeah.
But Meg, what'd you feel?
I thought it was great. I thought he talked enough about specifics. He did talk about the environment. He talked about the tax cuts that the Republican Party is pitching. He talked about the budget and deficit reduction. I thought he went into enough specifics to say, here's my plan. He even called the Republicans out and said, they didn't tell you. They told you how I'm doing a bad job, but they're not saying how they're going to do a better job.
Right.
Here's how I'm going to do a better job. And our job isn't done yet, and I know that it's hard to be patient, but let's be patient, and here's what we're going to do. That he did just enough of that and did enough fluff that it was still really exciting.
Right.
And also 4 more years. 4 more years.
Did he actually say like what he's going to do? Because I remember he said like. I remember he said
you have one person.
He like called the Republicans out and he was like, yeah, they're not even saying what they're going to do. They're just saying what a horrible job I'm doing. But did he actually, after that, say what he's going to do?
Yes, he did. He did talk about what he's going to do. He talked about his plan for deficit reduction. He talked about what he's going to do to encourage education. He wants to get 100,000 more math and science teachers enrolled in the next 5 years. He talked a bunch of specifics.
Did he say how he was going to do that, or he just said he's going to? Because that's exactly what the Republicans do. They sit there and they go, I'm going to do this, but neither actually talk about specifics.
You know what? We were watching it together and both drinking. I believe he did say something. The tires of the bus feel really great on my back. No, but I think he did talk about, how he wants to reduce the deficit. He's not going to do it with a tax cut. Talked a lot of specifics that I felt like he talked enough specifics that when I get the piece of paper with the words on it that he did say, I'm going to be able to point it to you, and then we're not going to be live in front of everyone.
I believe he said
and
what he wants to do.
I won't have a chance to make my point.
I think he didn't talk about specifics enough could be argued.
Sure.
It could be argued.
Anything could be argued.
But I think it comes down to the whole idea is, hey, remember how you guys voted for change, and then for some reason some of you thought that was going to be like overnight? Yeah, that's not, I'm sorry that you thought that, but it's a slow thing. And then he said, you voted for me because I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. I thought that was like the best part. I mentioned it last night because I said, like, after talking to everybody that I was leaning a little bit more left, and it basically boils down to that, this idea that, like, well, he hasn't fixed it yet. And I don't remember who said it, watched like 19 speeches, but like somebody said that the Republicans, maybe it was Bill Clinton, the Republicans said that, well, you inherited a mess, you didn't fix it in 4 years, so get out so we can get back in there. And
Bill
I think
Clinton
that's the best point that I've heard this convention so far.
Yeah. No. I think the whole message has been, things take time.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, and I think that he did get that across. I don't think that he needed to go too specific. What I would say is something, but I just blanked completely.
Oh, does it feel good? Because it feels like when Elliott asks you a specific question, and then you're like, oh, shit, I had something to say, and then, oh my God, no, I'm live, and I can't think of it. Oh my God, Elliott Morgan.
No, I'm just curious. I think when it comes to these, like, big time, like, the headliners, it's like the headliners of a rock show. Like, when they come out, it's less about what they're saying and more about the fact that they're there, and everyone's just like, I'm so excited to see you, which is totally normal and totally cool, and I completely understand why you wouldn't go into very specific logistics.
Okay, and then I think from there, we are going to go into Meg's final thoughts.
Oh.
And that's going to be you.
That's going to be me.
Speaking directly to the people.
Oh, hey, people. So here we are, the final moments of our political convention coverage. It's been quite the ride, hasn't it? We braved a hurricane in Florida, checked more facts and figures than you can shake a stick at. I got thrown under the bus. It felt good. We writhed with secondhand embarrassment at watching Clint Eastwood's frail psyche unravel before our very eyes. It's been a whirlwind of emotion, disappointment, triumph. But here we are, finally, the end. So what have I learned? I learned Republican women fear speaking to the media, that water slides are a great metaphor for freedom, and that no matter which side of an issue you stand on, it's important to be educated, to look at all issues from both sides, and to have a passion for your beliefs and principles, and to appreciate where the other side is coming from, even when you think they couldn't possibly be more wrong. Now, people have asked how Elliott and I could possibly get along when we stand on opposite sides of most issues. And the answer to me is simple. We respect one another. We respect that other people have beliefs that differ from our own. And although it's easy to let our passion overflow in an argument, it's important to see politics for what it is, an open discussion of ideas. As Elliott said last week, politics isn't about one party being right and the other being wrong. There isn't one good party and one evil party. There are just two parties that have opposing viewpoints. I've been accused a lot since we started this coverage nearly 2 weeks ago of being overly biased, a blind liberal. Now, I'll readily admit that I'm not shy about my opinions, and I'm quick to jump and interject when I disagree with a point. But that doesn't mean I'm not learning. Doesn't mean that I'm not listening. I'm always happy to learn about the other side of an issue. Hell, I'm even open to changing my mind once in a while. Shocking. I know, guys. All joking aside, this kind of respect is something our country desperately needs more of. Bill Clinton spoke last night about looking beyond party lines to find real-world solutions, and I couldn't agree more. Sticking to an idea, even when it's wrong for our country, because it's part of your political party's hardline beliefs, doesn't benefit anyone. Like Clinton said, it's good politics, but it's not good for this country. So let's take a step back. Let's educate ourselves on all sides of the issues. Let's listen to politicians from both political parties. Let's stop thinking only in the colors red and blue. And most importantly, let's vote. There's nothing in this country we can't change with our voice and our vote. If just 7% of those who stayed home in the last election had made it to the polls and voted for McCain, he would have won. 7%! That's it. That's all it would have taken to sway the most important election in this country. So let me leave you with something I've said a few times during these last 2 weeks that I still think holds true. Politics shouldn't be about fighting. It should be about learning. So let's learn all we can, and let's actually do something with that knowledge.
Oh, beautifully said, Meg.
It felt good, but then it was like, oh, I just fought with Elliott, and now I have to say how much I love him.
I was fighting with Obama. It's not your fault that you were speaking
that you
on behalf
happened to be in the vicinity of my mental fists.
Oh, poor you guys.
How
I love
you-
you guys.
I love you too, Phil.
But then,
Wait,
and you, Meg.
I said something and you just said Phil.
I don't know. But I think what is next up is actually Elliott's final
Oh, we're
thoughts.
bouncing straight.
Oh,
my
straight
goodness.
to you.
Okay, all right. So here we go. Final thoughts. Okay, so my understanding with all of this political convention stuff is that it used to be like these super suspenseful, huge processes because that was when presidential candidates were nominated by their respective parties, which it still is. However, nowadays, it's kind of like it's kind of like these events are like the perfect place to sell T-shirts and buttons instead. The decisions are already known, the candidates are already known, it's all tightly orchestrated, there's no surprises. All of the big political figureheads have gotten up and they've said words. So many words. Since being here, I've spent a crap ton of time sitting in front of a computer, listening to all of these words, drinking Yingling, because that's a beer that's hard to find in California, plus it's super cheap here. I'm actually drinking it right now. And I'm not drinking it right now, but I was drinking it when I wrote the words that are now going through the teleprompter that I'm spouting at you. I'm going to miss a lot of things about political conventions, but I'm mostly going to miss the Yingling. Moving on. What was I talking about? Words. Yeah. So Lewis Black once said that the difference between Democrats and Republicans is that Democrats blow and Republicans suck. Since then, I've never heard a more succinct, accurate description of our two major political parties. What has amazed me, however, is the speechwriter's ability on both sides of the aisle to take those agendas, one of blowing and the other of sucking, and then wrap them up in so many freaking words. I think politics is exciting. And a part of me does absolutely love it, and I wish a lot of times that they would kind of break through all of this stuff that they wrap their agendas in to get to the core of what actually matters. So, you have like, here's my personal story of triumph, and it proves we need to blow money in every direction, or invest in opportunity, or I'm just an AC/DC loving economist, and this proves we need to suck money from programs so that we can do this. Here's a testimony that shows the undeniable evil of a presidential candidate. Here's a bill passed as a political stunt, but esteemed as a leap toward equality. Here's a deafening silence on unpopular social issues. Here's pandering to women. Here's pandering to youth. Here's pandering to Hispanics. Here's pandering to everybody. Here's the exact same thing you've heard 1,000 times. So my final thoughts are, there's not that many thoughts, and if there are, they're being wrapped in way too many words. So am I right or left still? I am still not very much. I'm still fairly a righty. I'm pro-life from the womb to the tomb. I believe in a small government. I don't believe that the unity of America should be proportional to the expansion of our government. And I believe that everyone should be allowed to, get married. My stances have not changed. My excitement in politics has risen. I still have no idea who I'm voting for. And if you lost track of anything I just said, don't worry, because I can summarize it for you with words. Oh. Words.
I love it.
That was words.
I've never been so happy that I won Rochambeau before, and I got to go first, so I didn't have to follow words.
Words.
Yeah.
And I would say my final thoughts, I didn't write anything down, but I jotted something down that you said pandering, and every 4 years it feels like that's what it is. Lots and lots of pandering. And something, as someone that I really look up to, Zay Frank said something, I want to say 3 days ago, where it's these conventions, you have Democrats trying to prove that they have balls, and Republicans trying to prove that they have a heart. And I feel like a lot of that is true.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pandering works. I know that I've felt so many different opinions, and it's been very confusing figuring out what I believe when there are so many either valid arguments or things that are repeated so many times that I start thinking that it's actually true. But what I do say, the two things that are important to repeat, I would say President Bill Clinton, is that no one's right all the time, and as long as you're more right than a broken clock, you're good. You're good. Also vote. Fucking vote. It's important. It's very, very, very important.
Vote.
But that's my final thoughts. I think what we're going to move on to is The Nation Speaks. It's finally here. It's the last one, so I'm hoping that it's good. I'm hoping it's good. Meg?
I'm going to start it off with AF Blurt, who says, coming from someone who served in Iraq, Obama and Biden really hit home with their speeches. Which I thought was nice. Like, they both talked about the troops. We talked about how no one was talking about the troops last night. It was nice that they actually talked about the troops in both of their speeches.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Soul Nova says, #PDS Live, I am more resolute than ever. Go get him, Barack Obama.
You! You!
Exciting that bass.
B. Crunk says, the Democrats have kind of convinced me that they might do some good, but I'd still really like to see Ron Paul in office. Ain't gonna happen, B. Crunk.
Oh.
But I'm sad. Well, it's literally not. Because
Well, someone brought up a good point yesterday.
I'm not being a jerk. It's just not.
No, I mean, someone brought up a good point yesterday. While Ron Paul might not be on every ticket, Gary Johnson is supposed to be on every
Very
ticket.
true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are libertarian, you want to try and prove a point, I say go for it.
Yeah.
100% go for it, because you never know. Even if it's not a win, you could prove a point, and that might be the best that you can do this year, but it could lead up to something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Sergeant Savvy says, #PDS Live, a nation should not be governed by a religious stance when not everyone even shares that religion.
I mean, I think that's easy to say, but what was every night and every speech closed out with?
Well, God bless America.
God bless America.
But I feel like...
One nation under God, and then
Well, okay, but that was added in the 1950s.
Preachers.
I could argue
prayer,
that.
But we also, you always ended it with a prayer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can say that it's different, but, I mean, maybe it's just that they feel stronger about it. I don't know. I mean...
So you think that because the government has implemented things like One Nation Under God and that they end their speeches with God Bless America, that we should use religious principles to govern the country?
I'm just saying that I think that a lot of people think of Republicans as these crazy Christians and the Democrats as these, like, people that sometimes go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, God bless you when you sneeze. I think that, you know, you have to take the religious thing, someone out of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the tweet was just saying that we shouldn't be governed by religious stances, which...
I do agree.
I think that we can all agree with that.
It's a huge issue because, I mean, it's hard for me as a religious person, even though that's like the worst word ever. It's because you have these deeply held beliefs, you have these opinions on things, and you feel like they're right, and you feel like if they are right, that's how it should be. The reality is that morality is debatable, and if morality is debatable, you're going to have people that oppose it, and therefore, if the majority oppose it, that's what the majority says. You go with the majority. As far as like In God We Trust and God Bless America and all those things, I don't think it's indicative of whether or not we are a religious country. I think it definitely shows that we've incorporated religion throughout our history, and I think that's wonderful. I think there's a big difference between being accepting all religions and then shunning every sign of religion that you see. So like when someone, if it closes a prayer, I want to see that. And if some other religion, if the Democratic Convention wanted to have a Muslim or, close the ceremony, then that will be fine too. It's like we should embrace people practicing religion because that's part of what makes America so awesome.
But what if you wanted to not practice religion?
Then
what if you had an atheist president?
And I think
that's part of it too. That's also something that should be embraced.
I think a lot of it also comes from everyone feeling attacked.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, when people say, like, getting prayer out of school, it's what a lot of these people were used to. I mean, I have my own opinions. I think that it always threw me off as a kid, but that's just me. It's the way I was raised. But a bigger thing would be gay marriage. We talked about it's not... I thought it was as simple as, just make it a thing. But if the churches don't do it, they could lose their tax breaks.
But I just think that that's not a reason to not do it.
I think what it means is just you have to change it from a bigger way.
Yeah,
make it so that you don't crush the church, but that people who are gay, live their lives however they do, don't hurt anyone else. It's their thing. They can do what they do, and they get the same rights, same benefits.
Yeah, marriage is a weird thing, especially from like a conservative stance, because you have something that is considered like holy and sacred, and then you mix it with as much government as humanly possible, and that's, I think, where the problem is. The moment someone took marriage, which is a religious institution, and then made it a governmental institution, people equated it with the same thing. It's like, well, you can't do it. It's like if they were to take away the tax benefits of marriage, would that be destroying the sanctity of marriage? Like, I don't believe it would.
No.
And what's funny, just think about what the original question was, and where we got to.
Yeah.
And just think of all the emotion behind that, and then understand why we'll probably not come to a level-headed conclusion for a little bit.
Ironically, we're talking about. I think we all agree on this issue.
Yeah. No, we 100% all agree, but it's like it's a very emotional, very.
Wait, we all agree on gay marriage, or we all agree that there's religion and government and they should
that
be separate?
Women shouldn't have any rights.
Oh, no, yeah.
It's terrible.
In the kitchen
Yeah.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sandwich rights, though, that's like, you have the right to make a sandwich.
That's
Okay, well, we got Well, then we're good on that then. Yeah, no, good. Sandwich rights.
Let's see, what do we have next?
All right.
Sandwich rights.
Sons of the World says, both conventions have shown me that both parties have very different views on reality. The DNC, blind optimism. The RNC, blind rage.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. That might be the
that
best.
plays into your heart balls thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be one of the best tweets
That was a good
that
one.
we've had. That isn't about a specific issue. Let's see, Elliot, what do you have?
Ag Biaj, Ag Biaj says, I was planning on voting for Obama, but watching it, the DNC and RNC has only confirmed it for me. Hashtag PDS Live.
Oof.
21 Geoff 21 said, maybe it's Jeff, but he just spells it weird.
Geoff.
G-E, I'm
It's
deleting all
Jeff.
this. Whatever. Geoff.
Jeffrey.
Geoff says, the cons haven't really changed my opinion or stance. They just got me more excited to see the debates. I want some real talk.
I think that's, the
debates are the next thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, where are we, about a month away? I don't
Either
know.
in October,
Yeah.
every week in October.
Okay, and then I mean, that's also something that should be mentioned. A big thing is that the Republicans attack the Democrats more. That's what we've seen a lot in tweets, and it's true. But I also wonder, because I try and think of it from a different point of view. If you're not the incumbent, isn't that kind of the point?
Yeah,
Sure.
you have that underdog mentality.
But you still have to say, like, what I'm also going to do.
Yeah.
Which I think both sides have been guilty of not doing.
Yeah. Call me Publius says,
Alrighty.
no, if anything, I dislike the Democrats and Republicans more than ever. Hashtag PDS Live. That's kind of honestly how I feel about a lot of this, and I think that's why I'm so excited about the debates, because I'm more excited about politics, totally less excited about Republicans and Democrats.
I get that.
For the final tweet,
Oh,
I think
final
this is a
tweet.
good one.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Well,
I just
if
think
it's
this is a
good.
great wrap-up because you'll like it so much. Prog Forum says, John Kerry, sleeper hit of the afternoon. He got jokes. Who knew?
He's got jokes.
He got jokes.
Son? That's the way you have to end that. Son? That's not the last one. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Let's go one last one. That's not John Kerry related. Sorry.
Wow.
Well, you see, I went into landscape mode instead of portrait mode, and then I lost my place, so I'm having to find it again. John Stenberger says, Adam Putnam on Charlie Crist. He wants to be in the parade so badly he'll wear anybody's costume. Tonight he dressed as a Democrat. Yes! That's exactly what I said.
I don't even have any strong
And
feelings,
also,
but you're clapping, so I'll clap.
Adam Putnam is fantastic. I like that guy.
Great. Oh, me too?
I'm just going to keep
All
kicking
right.
it to you guys. I'm loving
Kryzaf
these.
said, I think the president did well because he talked about his plans for the next 4 years, unlike the Repubs who just pointed blame. Thanks, Kryzaf. And a hearty 4 more years to you, my friend.
You guess.
And Jal Jones says, the party lines are so obvious. I mean, Romneycare and Obamacare are so similar, yet Romney is just trying to... I know! I'm sorry! Yet Romney is just trying to beat Obama up on it.
I agree with that. I agree that I thought it was funny that the Democrats didn't point out that Romney passed his own Romneycare, and now he's beating up on Obama for Obamacare. And can we say flipper flopper?
And I think that might be actually the best thing to go out on, because all politicians are terrible, terrible people who punch babies in the face. Also the hypocrites. And they don't want moon bases. Newt, I don't know why.
They do want moon bases.
Do they
That's what Newt Gingrich wanted,
No, that's what I mean.
and everyone
They
made
ousted
fun
him.
of him.
It's like, I'm not...
No!
It's called priorities, people.
Main point of the past 2 weeks, moon base. But that'll do it for The Nation Speaks. And I think that'll also do it for the show. Yeah, there's no one else that's going to talk. I think I'm going to go inside. I'm going to drink a few beverages that I cannot drink on camera right now. And then I'm going to set things on fire. Not really. Please don't. There's way too many police officers. No, there are too many to joke about. But I do want to say thank you for joining me for the past 2 weeks.
Thank you for
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Elliott Morgan. Your cuddles are the best. Meg, they smile really big, which is, I guess, a good thing, right?
Yeah. Wait, my compliment you go out with is, I guess that's a good thing?
Yep.
Rude.
The main thing I want to say is, of course, as always, my name's Philip Defranco. You've just been filled in. I don't know what camera I'm looking at, and I'll see you soonish.
Yeah, 4 more years, 4 more years, 4 more years.